Good afternoon, everybody. As always, it is great to see everyone. I think we will.
Is it on TV?
It's on TV.
Oh, yeah.
We will go ahead and get started, even though there'll likely be some more people joining us over the course of the next minute or two. But can somebody let me know if you can hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
good. As always, see everyone. Well, welcome to our weekly
Why?
chat, or not weekly chat anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Community chat. I've muted everybody, but throughout the duration of the next probably less than an hour, feel free to unmute yourselves at any time with any questions or comments or feedback or suggestions. Also welcome to submit anything through the chat if that's easier for you as well. I know that we have the social honoring in honor of Veterans Day at 2:30 today. And so my goal is actually to wrap up a little earlier than usual to give those that are going to be attending that social the opportunity to make their way over to the Galleria. So we'll probably conclude, I don't know, shortly after 2 o'clock, depending on how things are going. So I feel like everyone's probably tired of hearing from me by now after budget presentation and some other state of the business last week. But here we are, stuck with me once again. So I'll actually just kind of do things in reverse order and just open it up now for any questions or topics that you would like to discuss, and then see what's on your mind, and we can discuss those things. And then if there's anything that I have on my list that we don't get to, I can fill in some of the gaps at the end. So I will turn the time over to all of you to unmute yourselves or send anything through the chat that you want to talk about.
Bradley, I have a quick comment that maybe you can pass on. We get so many spam calls that if I don't recognize the caller through caller ID, I don't answer it. And a lot of the team members use cell phones or something. I don't know what they're using, but seldom does it say TLG or human good or anything I recognize. So I am reluctant to answer them.
That's a good. And what kind of phone calls, not the spam phone calls, but the phone calls from the community, are they just from different team members about like
Yes.
various?
Confirming a reservation or asking a question, something that I want to know. And I would answer if I knew it was coming from somebody here.
Okay. Thank you. That's good feedback. I don't immediately know what the solution is, but I think it's something that is good for us to be aware of, to see if there is a way we can find a solution for that. Thank you for that. Shell.
I sometimes get calls from the concierge desk, and it's not the 1100 number. It's like 1990 or something like that, which I've gotten accustomed to seeing. And they'll tell me my prescriptions are at the front desk or something of that nature. So they're using a different line than the 1100 that I used to call them on.
Yeah. I've had the same experience. Just today, they left a message about the bus for the West Valley Light Opera tomorrow night. and they left a voicemail. But if it had just been the number, I would not have answered.
Okay, no, that's good. I think, I mean, I don't honestly know how the phone systems work, but my understanding is there's multiple lines, and sort of there's a default line. So if no one else is on a line, it would default to call from whatever the default line is, which would, I assume, would be like the general TLG line. But if there's other calls that have come in, then maybe it sort of bounces to a different line. But this is good. I'll pass it on to our technology team and see if there's a way that we can sort of improve on that. Because yeah, I know when I don't recognize a number these days, I don't answer the call. And then if I do recognize it, sometimes I choose not to answer it if it's, a family member that I don't want to talk to.
So also Kendrick just sent an email out for a TLG staff directory, and it was an HTML file, which I could not open. And he suggested I try using a browser, but that didn't work either. So maybe another way of getting staff phone numbers to people would be helpful.
Okay, thank you. I know that's actually, we've had some very recent conversations about the staff directory and trying to figure out the best way to make those numbers as easily available as possible. So thank you for mentioning that as well. And we are working with our resident TLG Connect committee to try to determine the best way to make the directories, as like I said, as easily accessible as possible.
So the directory that I got was residents, not for staff. Is there another list for staff? I thought Kendrick was sending out resident lists.
No, he have sent out a staff list, and I'm just this is Gunilla. I'm just looking at it, and I can see that all staff numbers are 408-357 and the -11, and it's just the two last number which varies from various functions. So that will mean that I in the future will probably answer calls which are 408-357-11. Assuming that it might be maintenance or something like that who wants to get hold of me.
He also sent out, besides the staff one, he sent out just recently a TLG resident one, which in the past I've been able to open, but this one I was not.
Yeah. I was able to open both of them, and I'm the one that usually has problems with that.
Huh.
I was wondering if anybody else has problems with Comcast being intermittent. I lost my internet connection yesterday, and it was pretty frustrating. I was in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah, I know over the course of the last few days, there have been some intermittent Comcast outages. I don't remember what night it was, but there was one night where, from what I understand, like from Santa Rosa to Santa Cruz, it was out everywhere for I don't know, an hour or so. And I know there have been a couple of other intermittent outages since then.
I think that was Monday night.
Was it when it was?
Well, this was yesterday, and other people in the L building had their connection. So I don't know what it is about the first floor.
Good to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. What else is on your mind? What other questions or feedback or suggestions or topics you'd like to discuss? How's everyone feeling about, I know this is these dangerous waters I'm wading into. How's everyone feeling about monthly fee increases? I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to join the budget presentation earlier this week. But for those of you who didn't, we are planning to make the recording of that presentation available soon, probably early next week. That will be made available. But anyone have any follow-up thoughts or questions or feedback about the presentation or the financials themselves?
You got out of there without people throwing tomatoes, so I guess that's a good sign.
Yeah, we didn't have to call in security, so that was good.
Well, there's a lot of talk about it in the dining room, and I think a lot of people understand it, but there are some that will never understand it. Just get angry about it.
Yeah.
It is clear from your budget presentation that the raise was inevitably high because of all the PPE and testing and all of the associated problems going on with COVID. However, it is what it is, and you don't have to be happy about it, but you can understand what's going on.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments?
Well, I know the board tried very hard to keep it as low as they could. They were trying to keep it in the 4s, but it just didn't work out.
I think, yeah, I think there is, I mean, there's so much unknowns at this point as well. Like we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. We don't know what's going to happen with everything associated with COVID, PPE and testing requirements, and that can be huge. I think we are cautiously optimistic that we won't have a lot of the same expenses that we've had this year and last year. But I think the biggest worry that we all have really is related to labor and wages. And I think we've set a fairly we've budgeted a fairly conservative expense increase for our labor and wages. But I think we're going to see, I anticipate we'll see it being more challenging than we would like in the coming year. And we'll obviously need to make adjustments to our wages, potentially beyond what we're budgeted to do. And hopefully we can make up that difference in additional revenue beyond what we've budgeted for. So it'll be an interesting next few months, and hopefully all will go well. I think it brings me comfort in knowing that we're a financially strong community to start with. And so a lot of the challenges that we are currently having and that we anticipate in the coming year, like we're still in a comfortable enough position where we can absorb those financial challenges more so than other communities, either within or with outside of the organization can. So that gives me a little bit of comfort, and hopefully it brings all of you some comfort as well, that we're not in a position where it's, oh man, we're gonna have to shut down the doors, or we're gonna have to lay off all of our staff, or we're gonna have to put the residents out on the street. We obviously wouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
All right. A reminder that next Tuesday, we have what will be a very fun foundation event. So next Tuesday, the 16th at 2:45 p.m., I believe. I don't have it right in front of me. 2:45 p.m. Next Tuesday. Judy or anyone else on the foundation committee, anything you'd like to say about that event?
It should be a fun time, even though we're looking for money. It's a party.
It's a party. We like to throw parties. It was better, we'd have ice cream, but oh well.
Yeah, I think I think what the committee really wants to make known to everybody is that we want everyone to be there and feel comfortable going, and it's not we're not going to. At least I don't believe there will be anyone standing there with, you know, a bucket asking for money. But it should be a really fun event, as the foundation events always are a good time. So hopefully many of you can join. And again, Tuesday at 2:45.
And then Thursday, there's so much going on that one day, it almost seems impossible to make it all. Especially in the afternoon. Are you going to have your chat at 1:30 next Thursday?
Not next Thursday.
Okay.
Got a break. You've got a break from me next week. But
there's
yeah,
a
there.
meet and
We
greet?
do have meet and greet at 4.
Right. And at 7, there's an interfaith Thanksgiving service.
At the LDS Church
Yeah.
on Rose Avenue. And that's at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. So there seems to be a lot going on in the same day.
Oh, wow. No, it's next Thursday.
Right. And you have a cab meeting.
You're right. We do. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, meet and greet, 4 o'clock next Thursday. Those are always a good events. So thanks to the committees involved in that. And then yeah, lot coming up. There's a community update letter that either has been or will be published to TLG Connect today. And with just one minor, I know we've talked about it for maybe a couple of weeks now, actually. One minor adjustment that visiting friends and family will be officially permitted to join in group activities and events here at the community. And we are visitors will still, unfortunately, will be holding off on allowing visitors into the dining rooms. But for events that take place in the community, whether they be events that are open to all the residents, or if you have private or special events for, you know, a resident birthday party or a family gathering in one of the public spaces, we are now allowing those outside visitors to participate in those group functions. Also, there's been some questions about masks, and yes, masks are still required here at the community, and we haven't gotten anything specific. We haven't gotten a specific or an explicit answer from the public health department about masks outdoors. And but given the community vaccination rate and the rates that we're seeing in the greater community, I think that our official protocol now is that masks continue to be required indoors and recommended while outdoors in the community, but not necessarily required. So that's a very subtle change of our community protocol. And again, that will that community update letter will go out today on TLG Connect, and then it will be included with the weekly updates tomorrow. On the subject of weekly updates, thank you all for your feedback about the weekly updates. In general, it seems like the weekly updates are appreciated and beneficial and helpful, but they can be overloaded and difficult to follow everything that's on there. I think we have historically tried to put as much information as possible in the weekly updates, and oftentimes repeat things for multiple weeks. It seems like the general consensus is maybe scale that back a little bit and simplify it a little bit. So we've made some adjustments, so we'll continue to make some adjustments to the format of the weekly updates over the course of the next few weeks. And if you have any additional suggestions or feedback, please don't hesitate to let us know. And if there's one thing of many that our community is good at, it is providing feedback. So keep it coming. We do appreciate it. Let's see, there's a comment that came through. The fountain in the Rose Garden seems to be a challenge to maintain, but I'm really hoping it will continue to run as it's very peaceful and beautiful. Thank you for that comment, Ms. McKenzie. I was not aware of any issues with the fountain in the Rose Garden. But I will look into that. I'm glad that I was made aware of it. So what is it just not running? Is that what the deal is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is running this morning. As of today, I noticed.
Yeah.
This morning it was running.
It seems to be stop and go.
This is Gunilla. There has been some problem with lots of leaves falling into it and plugging up the circulation, and then they have to shut off temporarily the fountain.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, I'll follow up with the maintenance team, and I'm sure they're on top of it. It sounds like it if it's going this morning, but I'll follow up too and make sure that we do all we can to keep it running at all times. On the subject of that area of the community, we have started contacting a few contractors about fence replacement. I know during one of the big storms a few weeks ago, the fence that was barely hanging on, I know part of it fell over completely. And so we are, Vincent's working with a couple of different contractors to get some bids together, and then we'll hopefully start working on a plan to replace that fence in the coming, hopefully we'll get a plan in place by the end of the year. Probably wouldn't start working on it until after the start of the year. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just pulling open my notes here. The buildings and grounds team is going to start removing. I know in the early days of the pandemic, we had put the paper towel roll dispensers outside of the refuse rooms to provide a paper towel or tissue to use when you're opening the doors of the refuse rooms. They're actually going to start taking those down in the coming days. And I don't think they're actually getting a lot of use. So we figure they're just sort of clunky and unsightly. So we'll take those down. But encourage everyone to continue to wash and sanitize their hands frequently. And let's see here. Also another item, just so everyone is aware, Linda Price, our Director of Sales, she is going to be away from the community for a couple of weeks. She'll be back at the end of the month, on the 29th, I believe. She will be back. So any sales related questions, please feel free to direct them to Jana or EJ from the sales department. Also, opera with Ulrich, it's been rescheduled to next Saturday. So I think it was originally scheduled for this Saturday, but it's been rescheduled to next Saturday, the 20th, at 1:15 in the GRA. And a couple of other upcoming events. This Sunday at 6:30 in the GRA, the flute school will be back and have a recital in the GRA at 6:30 this Sunday. And next Friday, there's an outing down to Carmel. And I think signups I think there's still spots available. So if you're interested in heading down to Carmel for the day on the 19th, you can sign up through the activities cube or contact the concierge desk and they can help get you signed up.
Next Friday is also the sale for Notions and Needs.
Oh, that's right. So you can get all of your holiday shopping done at Notions and Needs next Friday, starting at
10:30.
10:30?
Oh, 11:30.
11:30.
Oh,
11:30.
changed it.
Yeah,
All right.
11:30 to 3:30.
11:30 to 3:30. No early birds. So we may have a line out the door starting earlier than 11:30. But that should be a good day. And thank you to everyone that is making that happen. Notions and Needs. Let's see. What else? I think actually that's everything that I had on my list. COVID, because we got to talk about COVID. We still have one team member that's still out, but they're doing well, and we anticipate they'll be back early next week. And apart from that, no other positive cases that we are aware of. And today is the final booster shot clinic. I think it's for team members today. So I know there were quite a very high number. I don't know the exact number of both residents and team members that got their COVID vaccination or COVID vaccine booster shots. And so congratulations to everyone that got the booster shot, and grateful for their wellness and infection prevention team for coordinating those clinics. Kathy Cusick.
If we got our booster shot somewhere else, do you want us to report that into wellness here
Yeah, good question.
for your stats and whatnot?
Yes. if you received your booster shot not here at the terraces, we would appreciate it if you could let the wellness department know, so that they can add that to your records. We don't, at this point, we don't anticipate any regulatory requirements for booster shots for either residents or team members. The Department of Public Health may at some point, I don't think they have yet, ask us to report on our community booster vaccination rates. Up until now, it is only, they've only asked us for the initial 2 shots or single dose shots of to calculate our vaccination rates for both team members and residents. But at some point they may start asking for booster shot information. So it would be good to report that to the wellness team. On this, Ed Smith.
I have a question on regarding Pine Park and wellness.
Yes.
If I signed up for Pine Park and I pressed my button on my pendant, who would respond?
Great question. And so, so Pine Park Health, just so anyone who may not be aware, it's a new partner that we are working with, who provides primary care services for residents in our community. And so they will be working closely with our wellness department, but nothing will be changing in terms of the services that you receive from the wellness team. So if you push your pendant, it will still be a TLG team member that responds to those calls. And then if you are signed up under the care of Pine Park Health, any needs, they would then communicate them to the Pine Park team. But your initial sort of interface will be from the wellness department as it has been.
Excellent.
Does anyone have any feedback if you've had any interactions with the Pine Park team, if you're willing to share, if you've either signed up with them or had conversations with them, and if you have any feedback, positive or negative, please feel free to share. Well, if anyone does have any feedback at any time, again, positive or negative, please let me know. The whole intention of bringing the Pine Park team here to our community is to add value to the resident experience here. And if we're achieving that, we certainly want to know. And if we're not achieving that, we'd like to know that as well. Our goal is to eventually roll the program out to all of our other human good communities. But in order to feel comfortable doing so, we want to make sure that it's a success here at our community and at the terraces at Los Altos, where we're also rolling it out. So, and if there's any, again, even if it's negative feedback or constructive criticism, we would like to know so that we can share that with their team, because they obviously have a vested interest in making the program a success at our community as well. All right. Any other questions, comments, or feedback at this point? As a reminder, Edna Andres is providing spiritual care services here at the community, about 15 hours a week, I think, is what her schedule is right now. She is graciously sort of been bouncing around from office to office while we find a more permanent home for her. Ultimately, she will either be working out of the old chaplain's office on the second floor, or potentially the office that's just right around the corner that used to be our assisted living director office. But for the time being, if you need to reach out to Edna, the best way to do it is by email, or you can contact resident services. You can contact Sandy, and she can help get you connected as well. It's been great to have her at the community over the course of the last few weeks. I know she's been able to get to know a few of the residents thus far, and looks forward to getting to know many more during her time with us here at the community. So, all right. Anything else before we wrap up? Looking around. No, I don't think so. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining today, and hopefully I'll have the opportunity to see many of you at the Galleria at 2:30 for the Veterans Day Social. Thanks everybody, and have an enjoyable rest of your afternoon.
You too, Bradley. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.